Welcome to your Aligned as Fuck Life podcast, hosted by your girl, Shalvika. I am a life transformation coach, a wife, a cat mom, pure generator, Enneagram 3, Pisces sign, and helping you build an aligned as fuck life is my jam. Out in this world, we believe that there are no set rules for building a life, career, and business. That we are all unique and we should be able to embrace our uniqueness in everything we do while shedding all the rules or bullshit rules one at a time. We will talk all things mindset, manifestation, healing, energetics, rituals, success, and so much more. I believe that I can have it all and you can too. Ready for an episode that will take you one step closer to your aligned as fuck life? Let's get started. Hello, my podcast family. Welcome to another episode of Your Aligned as Fuck Life. And I am honestly so fucking excited to be here. So today's episode is about one simple shift for an aligned as fuck life. And what I'm going to really talk about today is end goals versus means goals. And I'm going to get into what those really are and, how they can really help you build an aligned as fuck life. But I just want to start with saying that this concept, this philosophy of life literally can change your fucking life. Like literally can change the face of your relationships. It can change the face of how you are at your job, at your workplace, in your business, how you are in your life, how you look at money. It's going to alter every single fucking thing in your life. And I cannot wait to share this with you. So before I dive into what are end goals and what are mean goals, let me give you a little small background about my journey to this point, about my journey to becoming a life transformation coach. For those of you who don't know me, I studied engineering in college. So I'm an electronics engineer by training. So my degree is Bachelor of Engineering. And honestly, to be like super fucking honest with you guys, I realized in my first year of engineering that this is not something that I wanted to do. But of course, coming from where I came from, knowing how much time, efforts, money, resources my parents had put into my education, I just felt like I owed it to them to see the degree through, right? And then after I graduated, I still had no idea what I wanted to do. I knew that this is not what I want to do, but I didn't know what I really wanted to do. And if I may say so, I really graduated like quite decently. Like I always had an 8-point GPA. So we have a system in India, like we have a system on 10. So I had an 8-point GPA, which was pretty fucking good. And so I decided that, I'm gonna start a job. So I had gotten a job in my final year of engineering with one of the largest manufacturing companies in the world. And everyone said that it's such an amazing company. It's going to change your life. And I thought, okay, why not? Why not start this job, do it for a couple of years, figure out what I really want to do in my life, and then let it go. Fast forward 8.5 years, because that's how long it took for me to realize what I really wanted to do. Not really realize, I knew I wanted to do something else, but to come to that place of clarity that I want to become a coach, that I want to help people live fully expressed lives, that I want to help people heal and grow and actually like let go of all of these bullshit rules, right? Like these rules that we have in our fucking head, these rules that are conditioned into our psyche since we are a child. And it took me 8.5 years. And the reason why, in spite of knowing that this is not what I want to do, I kept at it, I kept at that job, was because, well, it paid well. It paid really well, right? I had on paper a spectacular 8-year, 9-year long career in corporate. I got opportunities to travel at so many places. Like I went to Germany as a part of my job. I went to the US. I went to Mexico. Like there was a point in time, I think for 3 or 4 straight years, I went to Mexico every single year, sometimes twice in a year. And honestly, there was nothing wrong about my life on paper, right? Like when you look at the checklist again, let's get back to the rules, right? The bullshit rules, the checklist that we have. Buy a car. I bought a car when I was 25, whereas it took my parents way longer to buy their first car, honestly. So I was doing phenomenally well. But the reason why I still kept looking, and all throughout those 8 years, let me tell you, I constantly kept looking for answers. I constantly kept looking for something new, something better, something that would make me feel like I was doing a worthwhile job, like I was serving a higher purpose, if I may, right? That was because I just looked at that checklist. Right? And it was scary to not kind of follow the checklist. It was scary to let go of that and do something completely different, like start a blog and then eventually start my coaching business, which is what I did. My coaching business started as a blog way back in 2018, but more on that later. Why am I sharing this story with you? It's because the difference is for me following my end goals and me following my means goals. So my entire career with that massive manufacturing company was driven by means goal. Now, what do I mean by means goal? So means goals are goals that you use so that you can get somewhere, right? So to give you an example, I need an 8-point plus GPA so that I can get a good job, or I need to make $10,000 so that I can repay my student loans. This is a means goal. Every time there is a sentence describing your means goal, if there is a so and then there is a second part to that sentence, that goal is a means goal. So for me, my entire corporate career was driven by means goals, right? Because it was constantly about, I want to make more money so that I can buy a car, right? Then I want to make more money so that I can, go on a 10-day honeymoon with my husband. Then it was, I want to make more money so that I can, rent or buy a bigger house. Then I want to make more money so that I can buy whatever furniture I want. And I love antique teakwood furniture, by the way. So it's expensive, right? So that was what actually motivated me. That was what drove me throughout my corporate career. And which is why, in spite of it being honestly like fitting all the checklists, the conventional checklists that society tells you that you need to have, I wasn't happy. I didn't feel fulfilled. I constantly felt honestly like I was made for something so much more, but it just kept eluding me, right? That whole what more was I meant for just kept eluding me because I was so focused on my means goals. I was so focused on growing, on getting the next grade, on getting the next promotion, on becoming a manager to a team, on making more and more money, that the whole pursuit of fulfillment just went by the wayside. Like it was just swept aside, right? And honestly, means goals are also goals that help you kind of stick to the rules. Now, when I say rules again, I'm going to tell you again, rules are bullshit rules. It's again the checklist that we are all surrounded by since the day we are born, right? Like get a degree by 25, get a decent job, get married by 30. Once you're married for a few years, think of having a child, buy a house, buy a bigger car, then send your kids to a really good school, and it keeps on going, right? It's a list that keeps on going. It's a list of shoulds that just keeps on going about the things that you should be doing all the time. And every time you find yourself pursuing these shoulds, know that you are pursuing a means goal and not an end goal. Now let me tell you, kind of like shift the focus, and let me tell you about what an end goal really is. An end goal is when you know how you want to feel at the end of all of your means goals. So for example, right, I want to make more money. Why? So that I can buy a car. Why? So that I can travel to places. Why? So that I can experience the beauty that is around me. Now that is your end goal, so that I can experience the beauty. Experiencing the beauty around me is my end goal. Making more money is a means to an end. It's a means by which I am going to get to the end that I want. So honestly, it's not really the means goal that you want, right? Your brain doesn't really want the means goal. It's a means goal so that you can reach an end which makes you feel happy. So end goals often will be connected with how you feel, right? Like how you want to experience life. What kind of emotions do you want in your life? Like I want to feel joyous. I want to feel happy. I want to feel fulfilled. I want to experience the beauty. I want to experience what it is like to have adrenaline pumping through my veins, right? All of these are end goals. And the reason why I am talking to you about this today is because I really, really want you to kind of take a look at all the goals that you have, right? Go through the list of the goals that you have and ask yourself, is this a means goal or an end goal? Because honestly, if your end goal is, say, for example, experiencing beauty that is around you, there are a number of ways in which you can do that. You can do that by means of making more money so that you can travel. You can do that by means of becoming a travel blogger. You can do that by means of reading books about newer and newer places so that you can experience them through that. You can do that by means of meeting people and talking to them about the experience that they have had. So you can kind of live vicariously you can live those experiences vicariously through them, right? So the means to get to your end are always multiple. But when you have a super fucking clear idea about what your end goal is, the means then becomes not really irrelevant, but the means becomes a little less significant, because you know what the big picture is in your mind, right? You know where your life is headed. You know why you're doing what you're doing, right? And here are a few pitfalls to kind of avoid when it comes to like your means goals and your end goals. So for example, you might meet someone tomorrow who says that she wants to make a lot of money so that she can take nice long vacations with her family and her children and spend a lot of time with them, because she grew up in a household where her mother didn't spend a lot of time with her, right? But then people get so entrapped in the pursuit of a means goal that sometimes they get so busy. Like, I want to make more money, so I'm so busy. I'm like working 18-hour days. I am constantly at work. I don't even see my children because, when I leave home, my kid is asleep, and when I get back home, my kid is asleep again. But I'm doing this so that I can spend more time with them. But in the pursuit of doing that, you're spending lesser and lesser time with your child. And that is why it is important to bring into perspective what is your end goal, right? What is it that you are working towards? When you keep in mind what your end goal really is, your life, your relationships, your decisions about your career, about your next move, what you need to do in your business becomes so fucking simplified. It's like having an end goal is like the North Star, like you are navigating, you're in the ocean. Okay, I don't sail, so, maybe this is not a very good analogy. But like, I'm guessing that, you're in the ocean, you're surrounded by water, you are on a sailboat, and you see the North Star, and that's that's the direction that you have to go. So you're gonna keep at it. You're gonna keep turning your ship. You're gonna keep turning the sail so that you are pointed in the right direction. That is what your end goal is. And when you bring that perspective into your life, when you bring that clarity about what my end goal really is in my life, in my relationships, everything gets simplified. The conflict that you have with your manager, the conflict that you have with a teammate, the conflict that you have with your mother-in-law, maybe, all of these things become really insubstantial when you keep the big picture in mind, when you keep your end goal in mind. So if your end goal is that I want to be in a position where I have a very, very happy relationship with my husband or with my spouse, then that tiny little conflict that you had with your mother-in-law just becomes so much small in magnitude, because then this is my big picture. My big picture is that I'm going to, end up having and leading a really, really happy life with my partner, right? So this one simple shift honestly is going to change every single thing for you. So here's what I want you to do, okay? If you are someone who kind of set New Year's resolutions or goals for the New Year's, or if you have like active goals constantly running through, I want you to take a look at each of those goals. And I want you to ask yourself whether each of those goals is a means goal or an end goal. Again, there is nothing wrong with having a means goal. Means goals are important so that you can reach your end goals, right? Means goals, again, are a means to reach your end goals. That's why they are a means to an end. However, they shouldn't become all-encompassing. They shouldn't become the focus of your life. And it shouldn't also be that if one means fails, so say for example, again, let's take the example of you wanting to experience the beauty around you, but you kind of, are unsuccessful in the plan to make more money so that you can travel, right? Don't let that discourage you from following your end goal, because that's what I see a lot of people do. A lot of people take up a means goals, and if they can't achieve it, they label themselves as someone who has failed, and then they just stop pursuing their their end goals. And that is just not true, because there are so many other means by which you can get to your end goal, right? And that's the beauty of it. That is why it's your North Star. That's why it's your like guiding light, or whatever it is that you want to call it, right? Because as soon as you become clear about whether the goal on your list is a means goal or an end goal, it just shifts. Everything just shifts, right? And if all the goals on your list of goals are means goals, then I want you to use the simple method of asking why till you get to an end goal. So for example, if you're a PhD student, doing experiments is, say, a means goal for you. I've never been a PhD student, but just from my understanding of it, I want to do 50 experiments in the next 2 months. If that is your goal on your list, right? That is a means goals, right? Because why, right? Like, why do I want to do 50 experiments? So that I can gather data for my research. Why do I want to gather data from my research? So that I can publish, so that I can write a paper for it. Why do I want to write a paper for it? So that I can publish my research. And then why do I want to do that? So that I can submit my theses. And why do I want to do that? Because I can get a PhD. But why do I want to do that, right? So that I can change the way the world looks at breast cancer. I don't know if that's your field of research. So then that is your end goal. That is what you're working towards. All of these things are a means to that end. So just take your list of goals, and if they are means goals, just keep asking why till you get to your end goal. And then ask yourself, does this end goal really excite me? Is this something that I really, truly want to work towards, right? And that will give you such amount of clarity. That will give you such amount of motivation. Honestly, you won't need motivation after that because you know what your big picture is. For me today, I know my big picture is changing people's lives. It's transforming people's lives. It's so that people don't have to live in the shackles of these rules that we have, the way I did for the first 30 years of my life, constantly struggling for the next thing on that checklist, right? So that is my end goal, and that is why I do what I do. That is why I am doing this podcast. That is why I do stuff on my Instagram. That's why I write emails. That's why I do everything that I do. All of these things are a means to an end so that I can impact more and more people, lead aligned as fuck lives, right? So that is what is that one perspective shift, like that one simple shift that can help you build an aligned as fuck life. I hope you really enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please leave me a 5-star review on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, I think that's iTunes, but please leave me a review so that more and more people like you can find me, find my podcast, and I can get one step closer towards meeting my end goal. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a lovely, super fucking awesome day. Alrighty, ciao. Thank you so much for tuning in today's episode. If you absolutely loved what you heard today, be sure to share it with me by leaving a review on iTunes so that I can keep the good stuff coming. And if you aren't already following me on social media, come soak up some extra inspiration and send me a hello on Instagram by searching @Shalvika_P. Also tagged in the show notes. I love and adore you so much, and I will talk to you super soon. In the meantime, continue building your most authentic and aligned as fuck life. Ciao!